truth of your book. And the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited. Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Elder Ricard of the Gathering of Christ Church here, live with a serious conversation that's long overdue. As you can see, the Academy starts December 4th, and I hope you all will be enrolled. December 4th. Let's shatter the past records and bring forth this understanding in these last days. That's right. It's imperative we come together under one faith, one Lord, one baptism, and one understanding. The truth is under attack. God's people and those who believe in him are under attack. All right. Now, this conversation is well overdue, of course, amongst the Hebrew world. Rabbi Harry Rosenberg is his reputation precedes him. We have posted some of his videos in the past. Hebrew, I would say, circles. I have him here today, and we're going to have a discussion in the wake of what's going on with Kyrie, Kanye West, now Dave Chappelle, as well as what's going on with some of the Jewish owners and things of that nature, so that we can have a real conversation. Okay? Not skirt around the direct question. Why are black people today taking on an identity or belief of Jews? And why is it on the other side? How is it that two separate, what's their problem? And what we're going to find out today, yesterday. So we're going to talk about this today in a open conversation so that it's full disclosure and understanding can be had on either side to come to an equal medium. Without any further ado, let's bring in Rabbi Harry Rosenberg. How are you this evening, sir?
I'm feeling grateful inside of my brain, and God bless you and your congregation for wellness. And God bless you and your congregation for wellness.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenberg.
In New York, I grew.
I'll tell you this: I can't wait for.
Is the order of the priesthood.
I afflict 47 Sanders, where his ears in view from all people.
Perspective played a role.
Okay, he's disowned.
We don't say mean things about people, but we're not triggered if someone wants to talk about him. It does nothing.
What I'm saying is, if I say something negative about Jews as a group, I'm labeled anti-Semite. But the most famous Jew that have ever graced the planet, anyone can say something negative about him, even Jewish people, and not be labeled. You don't see anything wrong with that?
Absolutely not. There's every year for the last 2,000 years, there's been Jews whose books have been burned and kicked out of the community for not passing on what everyone heard from their father. So if someone deviated from what everyone heard from their father, it was just expelled from the community. You get kicked out.
So I take it you could care less about Christ.
I mean, I don't care about, most things, but I love, reality.
Now I'm talking about Christ in particular. You don't really care about him like that, do you?
I don't even know how you're supposed to care about him. He's a historical figure, one out of billions, but it seems that he played a role in disseminating information about the House of Israel and the gathering and the.
Well, I'm gonna say this. Let me say this. The respect that Christians and myself in particular had for Jews as a group wasn't through our belief in Moses. I'm gonna say that it was because of Christ. you all gained respect. Listen, you all gained respect as a group through our ignorance and us believing that there was an attachment with you to him. Last question, because I know you have to go, and then we're going to pick up part 2 next week.
I'm looking forward.
Are you looking forward to it? So am I. Next week, we're going to lay out some stuff. It's really going to be good for you. Revelations 2:9, 3:9, where Christ says, I know thy works in blasphemy. Thy works in tribulation, speaking of his people, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. What is your view on that Bible verse?
I always just, first of all, we don't even hold to the New Testament stuff because we don't trust the authors of it. But secondly, if I would look into that, I would just look at the people who are openly serving Satan today. You know, a lot of satanic worship in American culture goes back to Vatican, Jesuit stuff, and the founding Council of Nicaea. And they say that they're the God-chosen people. This church and the Vatican, they representing God, that they are now the chosen people.
Oh no, the Vatican is of the devil. Okay, let's make that clear. So we can agree both on that one.
It's not talking about me and my friends studying Torah. It's talking about people actually worshiping Satan at a very dark,
okay,
scary.
Okay. Now, one day we're going to go into a conversation of the gospel concerning those actual people. Let's pick that up next week, part 2, if we may. Okay.
Yes.
Rabbi Rosenberg, thank you for your presence and piecing out some time for us. I'm chopping at the bit. I cannot wait for part 2. What say you? You have a great evening and shalom, and may Christ be with you.
Blessings to you and your congregation. Thank you.
All right. Bless you. All right. There go Rabbi Rosenberg. I'll tell you this. I can't wait for part 2. And I know a lot of brothers and sisters saying, Elder Ricasso, y'all, you should have said this, you should have did this, should have did that. Listen, folks, be patient. Be patient. With patience, possess ye your soul. Let me put that over there. Just be a little patient. Just be a little patient. Because guess what? It's not about conflict. It's about letting people say what they truly believe. Let them say what they truly believe. Our people are waking up, folks. And I kept Christ's question for last. And brothers and sisters, I wasn't the least bit offended with how his view on Christ. But I wanted to make a point, and it's not his fault, a point of certain hypocrisies generally when it comes to that view against Christ. That view against Christ. And I want Christians to understand this. By proxy, we've been supporting Israel and supporting Jewish people and all that, believing that there was some connection between our Savior and them. So we laid the history out. Of course, I know Lawyer is chopping at the bit. All right, Elder Lawyer. Without any further ado, let me bring in the man with the plan, Elder Lawyer. All right. Conversation with the rabbi. Are y'all ready for part 2 already? Are you ready for part 2?
Hey, Shalom, just...
Are y'all ready for part 2? Elder Lawyer, I see you. You're fine. You're good. Can you hear me? There's no volume. I can't hear you now, Lawyer. I heard you initially. There's no volume. Okay.
All right. I'm sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, and I know you're fighting a little bug or whatever the case is. Did you get an opportunity, Elder Lawyer, to witness the first installment of our conversation with the rabbi? Now we're going to have a few of these in the academy too. The conversations with the rabbi, you know, and you know, I need, Elder Lawyer, for you to give me your perspective, what you've seen, and do you have an opinion on the dialogue you've just witnessed? Let me pull you in.
Yes. I just want to make sure you can hear me nice and clearly before I proceed forward.
Oh,
And then
yes.
I'll give my opinion. Okay, great. Okay, so first and foremost, a very good discussion, and obviously very telling at the end, understanding what we believe concerning Christ, which I believe is the author and finisher of our faith. And without him, there is no gathering the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And I think that's why there's been a failure to do so from generation to generation. People are seeking to do this of their own volition, not understanding that it's Christ that will eventually gather us together in one. The Bible says that unto him shall the gathering of the people be. Okay? Now, I think ultimately that we're talking about the discussion, what is anti-Semitism? I think in the coming conversation, that definitely needs to be a talking point, so that at least there can be some understanding and some clarity as to what that is. And I believe that in that particular conversation, we need to have that discussion again, going back to Christ. If we're saying that people speaking ill of Jews is anti-Semitic, the question is not Christ a Semite? And if he's a Semite and it's okay to speak against him in such an ill manner, what does that do for the protection that comes with anti-Semitism if it cannot be levied to protect who we believe to be the greatest Jew to ever walk the face of the earth?
Well, Elder Lawyer, I wanted to emphasize that I'm sure he's going to look back at this before the broadcast, and I welcome him to do so. They said the volume, I don't understand why the volume is low here. It should be fine. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit. I'll turn it up just like that. One thing in particular that I don't think, and I don't think they do they, is this done subconsciously or intentionally? That there's two sets of rules here, right? They are allowed to question our history, but we're not allowed to question theirs. And if their history is correct, why are they so offended with people questioning it? So there's two. Yeah. I think they're doing this subconsciously without even thinking. They get easily offended and how dare you question any mainstream narrative concerning the history when it comes to our suffering and oppression. So I'm going to handle that and talk to it next week, because what? Christ says you shall know the truth and the truth shall make you free. You can disagree all you want. Truth stands against criticism. Truth stands against criticism, and it stands even if we're dealing with revisionist history. If you know your history is true, you don't mind anyone looking back at it and questioning it. So, but the dialogue, Elder Lawyer, is what I'm talking about. Having that dialogue so that we can admit that what they really feel. Because I'm starting to really believe black people not claiming to be Jewish, but claiming to be Israelites is really what's offending them. I think that's offensive to some of them. And they're not willing to admit it. Right? They're not willing to admit that, you know what? When black people claim our culture, my traditions that me and my forefathers have been holding for generations, that's offensive to me. And eventually, we may have someone come on and just admit it. It's to a degree, Elder Lawyer, that I'm reading Rolling Stone articles and all that right now. And I'm going to pull this up. They're now calling our people staking claim to being Hebrews or Israelites a conspiracy theory. Watch, because this is what they do. They'll put someone out there and put an article out there, and then they'll begin to make a thread to connect it to conspiracy theory. And that's very dangerous right now. And they're not going to use their faces to do it in particular. That's very dangerous, Elder Lawyer, stating that if blacks are claiming to be Hebrews or Israelites, that it's a conspiracy theory. Because you know why that's dangerous? That ties in to the conspiracy theorists of all conspiracy theorists, Alex Jones. And then it sets a precedent. Well, look what happened with Alex Jones. We have to make it where what? We need to cut off anyone that's conspiracy. Using Alex Jones as an example. And I'm looking at this, folks. Be very careful when they start labeling our understanding of Israelites as conspiracy theorists. And guess what? We must push back at all costs with that. Unless you're willing to sit down with your history and our history and go over it like I've just done tonight, understand it's offensive, disingenuous, and outright evil to dismiss our claim as Hebrews. And you notice, Elder Lawyer, I never challenged his belief in how he was taught according to him being a Jew. You notice I didn't challenge that. And you know why I didn't challenge it, Elder Lawyer? Because I don't have to. See, when you go into the history and the truth concerning the Bible, it shines a light on those who aren't truthful. And it shines a light on those who stand in truth. Elder Lawyer, anything else you have to say there?
Yes, sir. Well, going back to the original statement that I was making concerning, again, this label that's being used. Again, the topic of discussion is what is anti-Semitism. That is one of the most powerful tools that has been used, or labels, I should say,
yeah,
that has been used to pretty much silence anyone who says anything good, bad, or indifferent about a particular community.
Yeah.
And I think that we have to find out first and foremost, what exactly does that mean? Okay. And if it cannot be defined, why is it used? When can it be applied? When, we have to really get to the root of that particular label to not to say to diffuse the label. Again, if someone does something that's against a particular community, then there should be some punishment for that, just like if someone does something against any other community. But the point is that we have to really get to the root of what that label means. And if they cannot define it, if it's something that's not exclusive to a particular community, again, we've said this before, when we look at the term Semite, that is not exclusive to one particular group of people. There are plenty of nations who fall under that particular label. So how is it that one label can exclusively receive protection under that? And if that's the case, if there's other Semites, can other Semites receive the same protection under that label? Because and I know he made a difference between practicing, believing Jews and secular Jews, which we understand that there's a difference. However, whenever that label is used, it seems like there's a unification between both secular and religious.
Yeah.
Regardless of what their beliefs are and what their practices are, there seems to be some level of unification between all factions once that label is thrown out there. So there has to be some, we got to level the playing field when it comes to, same way we have to level the playing field when it comes to the letter community and how they throw certain labels around to demonize people and shut them up. The playing field also has to be leveled when it comes to this particular community and how labels are thrown around to shut people up. And
Thank you,
with
brother.
that, I yield.
I'm glad
Yes,
you
sir.
brought that out. And I have to correct that one thing that I said because I'm getting my singers mixed up. The jazz singer. There was a movie by Al Jolson
Yeah.
called The Jazz Singer where he's in blackface. He's in blackface. Right? Let me show people this real quick. Al Jolson, the jazz singer. Al Jolson, the jazz singer. You can, right? I said Janis Joplin. I don't know where I got that from, but it's Al Jolson. Let me show you here. Al Jolson. Right now, you can get this on Amazon. Right now. Amazon Prime, if you would like. Al Jolson, the jazz singer. But when you look up Al Jolson, jazz singer, let me use a different tab here. Not now. I misspoke there. AC, I'm going to need you to fix that. Al Jolson, jazz singer. Blackface. Right? And when you go here, hello, mammy. Now, it so happened that, of course, he's probably, this is Al Jolson, a Jewish guy. Okay. But all in all, this movie with him mocking black people can be purchased on Amazon. And you don't see black people up and roar like, what's going on? You can't do this. What's happening? There should be a disclaimer here. What's going on? Right? They can mock us. And it doesn't have him to do with who he is or his religion in particular. But this can be on Amazon, but yet people are complaining about a tweet by Kyrie Irving. And I'm just saying, it seems like we're playing with two sets of rules here. And we need to admit that's so. And guess what? If you have a different set of rules that applies to you, then just state that. So that we can be honest and come to an equal medium where we'll understand, okay, preferential treatment goes to the chosen people. If that's the case. If you believe you're the chosen people and that something that applies to you doesn't apply to us, at least admit it. At least admit that. Now, one other thing I wanted to show Elder Lawyer, because I don't know whether or not, real quick. His name is Al Jolson. I'm going to make sure that when I make that claim with that brother, that people don't take that out of context when I spoke with him. And I need AC to fix that part and just put Al Jolson there, because I don't like to misspeak. Okay. So they can do blackface and all that without anyone pushing back. And we're gonna open up the calls for a second. But there's a few things I wanted to talk about, Elder Lawyer, if we may, now that one second. Now that Harry has temporarily left the building until next week. Now, Dave Chappelle is under fire, Elder Lawyer.
Right.
Dave Chappelle is under fire. For what? Well, fair use. Fair use. Dave Chappelle was chest on Saturday Night Live, and everything he said was true. I didn't see anything he said that was offensive, but yet he's under fire. Now, what part of what the brother said here is anti-Semitic? And when we come on, part 2, the rabbi is going to tell us and give us a clear definition of what anti-Semitic is, what it means, so that we are careful not to offend him and their people going forward. And we're going to let them know what we're not going to tolerate. Since the conversations are being had. Starting with corporations financially grandizing themselves off of our youth by pushing degradation, death, and destruction. We're going to talk about that. And I'm just going to ask a question. If there was all black executives, Puff Daddy and everyone else, all together over corporations and went into your community and began to sign contracts to these your children to perpetuate all that's wrong in the earth, and it began to destroy your community inward, what would your people do? I'm going to ask the question. If we had all black executives, right, and we recruited your children to push degradation, sex, and evil and all things wrong with the earth, criminality, and incentivize that, and paid your people to actually perpetrate that life as art, and it began to erode and destroy your community, what would your people do? Those are the 2 questions I'm going to have for Rabbi next week. The first one is, give us a clear definition of anti-Semitic if you can. And the second one, we're going to start with that, and we're going to use some video to say, well, here's some of the accusations that are being had against your community. Okay. What say you when it comes to what Dame Dash said here or what Jay-Z said there? So that's going to be our broadcast next week. Speaking to culture. We're going to be dealing with culture next week in our conversation with the rabbi. But here's Dave Chappelle. Fair use.
Before I start tonight, I just wanted to read a brief statement that I prepared. I denounce anti-Semitism in all its forms. And I stand with my friends in the Jewish community. And that, Kanye, is how you buy yourself some time. Early in my career, I learned that there are 2 words in the English language that you should never say together in sequence. And those words are the and Jews. I've never heard someone do good after they said that.
Now you notice they're laughing, right? Now, what makes this so funny, Elder Lawyer, is why. Usually something is funny when it's true.
Right.
And the gift he has to be able to articulate that without getting in trouble is absolutely amazing. Right? But he's stating the obvious. If you say those 2 words together, look to be canceled, right? Did he say anything wrong yet, Elder Lawyer? Or was it true?
Truth. 100% truth.
You can say anything you want about a black man.
Yeah.
Because there's no consequences for it. See, but we have to change that.
Right.
It's up to our people to change that. You can say whatever you want about a black man. And people will be like, well, you're supposed to be able to say anything you want. There's no, I can't lose my job for saying something wrong about a black man. But let's see what else we have here. Fair use for educational use only.
I don't want y'all to get mad at me. I'm just telling you. I've been in Hollywood. This was just what I saw. Just telling you. I've been in Hollywood. This was just what I.
Here you go. Here's the part that I
I've been
think.
to Hollywood. I don't want y'all to get mad at me. I'm just telling you. I've been in Hollywood. This was just what I saw. It's a lot of juice. Like a lot.
Fair use.
But that doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? There's a lot of black people in Ferguson, Missouri. Doesn't mean we run the place.
Now, an elder lawyer. Let me ask in particular, what was so offensive about that?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Well, I think the president of ADL has a true issue with this. Has a very, very serious issue. The ADL is speaking up against this. I guess it's opening the door for people to make light of tropes and stereotypes that were once forbidden. You can't even make jokes. So what was offensive? Oh, let me ask you this. Here's a better question. And maybe I'll pull this up for the rabbi next week. What are they afraid of when jokes like that are being had amongst not just our community, but the world? What are they afraid of?
Is that a question or?
Yeah, I'm asking you. What do you think?
Oh, again, as they would say, it lends to the idea that they are in control of certain aspects of society, which is the truth. I mean, what else can you say? If you're in Hollywood, if we keep hearing the same thing over and over, from generation to generation, from people who are black, people who are white, people who are Hispanic, they're going into these spaces and they're seeing the same people in positions of power.
Yeah.
Eventually, people are going to start, what other conclusion do you draw?
Okay, so also, I would say the double standard is everyone else can be stereotyped, but we're not allowed to deal with any stereotype. I don't agree with you doing it. It's anti. He said there's just like if you go in, this is where you'll find a lot of us, right? So it was genius how he was able to utilize that and make light of it so that the conversation can be had. That the Jesuits is a Jewish faction of the Roman Catholic Church. We're going to give you their names. The rapture doctrine is just one of the many different false doctrines that so-called followers of Christ have constructed. Why? Because these are people who don't want parameters. See, and that's the whole thing. Without a God to believe in, you can walk this. That's all it's about. Let me get a few more.
Yes, sir.
Let me show you the reverse. Now, let's go to where the Bible, let's get it.
The galaxy. For a way to a world rich with life, where he encountered a primitive race, humans. A species which, with all his powers and knowledge, he could maintain indefinitely. He realized within a human body he had a chance for a new life. Now, he apparently found a young boy. It says, as the frightened villagers ran, night became day. Curious and without fear, he walked towards the light. Ra took him and possessed his body, like some kind of a parasite looking for a host. And inhabiting this human form, he appointed himself ruler.
And Paul, we don't serve the highest God. And Paul is saying, well, listen, let no man beguile you in an involuntary worshiping of angels. Because at the end of the day, if we don't serve the highest God, the God of all gods, we are doomed to their judgment, the pits of hell.
All lives end in suffering and
You're
tragedy.
doomed to their judgment. See? Now here's the true ministry that Paul, the disciples, were teaching. The majority of the earth is ignorant to a lot of what it's through. Some of them is through tradition because their parents did it, but they don't know the origin of this stuff. And we have to have the knowledge to know that. You're the ones with wisdom. You have the knowledge that, listen, they're only following what their parents taught them. So with that comes what? A level of patience through our interactions. A level of patience through our interactions, knowing they don't know any better. They're only doing what they're. If you ask them, well, what was the date that your particular religion began? Who constructed that religion? Right? Who is the powers or gods behind that religion? Now, most people don't want to be upfront to say, well, I don't know. So usually all people in ignorance comes back with an answer like this. Well, there's many religions, but there's really one God over all of them. And this is the answer you'll get. It doesn't matter if you deal with an Arab, a black person, an Asian person who believe in their religion, an East Indian who believe in their religion, an African or whatever who believe in their religions. Mm-hmm. The ignorance will always come from, and it's not their fault, to absolve themselves or to actually not in themselves being able to do the work to actually go back to the true origin. They would absolve themselves by saying, well, it doesn't matter. This is what my fathers did. And at the end of the day, there's only one God under different languages. What the origin of my religion is. Okay, let me look into it.
Verse number 9.
Yeah, go ahead.
Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this thy so great a people?
He says, give me what?
Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart.
Give me an understanding heart.
To add, for who is able to judge this thy so great a people?
Who can judge so great of a people? So the first thing Solomon asked for was wisdom. Brothers and sisters, learning we're Israelites is one thing, but having the wisdom as an Israelite who is Christ is another. It comes with the responsibility to utilize that knowledge with wisdom. And you use that wisdom, we use that wisdom to interact with the world, who so happens to be predominantly pagan. See? You can't expect the whole world to understand your journey, your transformation. So you have to go to the most can judge such people as God's people. Who can help them? Who can actually get to them? And you don't want to be responsible for doing what? Harming them. Well, brothers and sisters, coincidentally, where we are in the earth right now, even the children of Israel, our people, are predominantly pagan. But they're still the Most High's people. They're still his people. So Solomon understood, like, give me the wisdom to get to shelter your people, to help your people, to guide your people under any circumstances. Okay? So he understood, and he would send Christ later with that same spirit. That same spirit. Okay? On how to guide a people, how to interact with a people who are born amongst pagans. Don't forget, when Christ was on the scene, it was under the Roman Empire. So Christ would come with that same spirit on how to judge such a people. Right now, our people are torn apart. We're destitute. Okay? We are without anything. The Gentiles have ravished us, right? And I need you all to think about this, and I thought about this morning. The only time any of our people get any similitude of love that we should receive all the time is during the Christmas season. But our school teachers, the people themselves, well, if I can't get this time, the only time that I get any love, and you're coming in without the wisdom of how to bring them over to where one day they'll be celebrating Passover. One day, if you operated with them right, they would celebrate Purim. And not once did you ask me to take down your enemies. Look at that. Read on.
Behold, I have done according to thy works, lo, or thy words, lo. I have given thee a wise and an understanding heart, so that there was none like thee before thee, neither after thee shall any arise like unto thee.
Come on.
And I have given also thee that thou hast not, or which thou hast not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall be not any among the kings like unto thee all the days. And if thou wilt walk in my ways to keep my statutes and my commandments, as did David thy father.
If you do what?
If thou wilt walk in my ways and to keep my statutes and my commandments, as thy father David did walk, then I will lengthen thy days.
I will lengthen thy days if you keep the commandments and walk as your forefathers. Now, because Solomon, this is before Solomon's old age, because he had the wisdom not to ask for himself, the Most High blessed him even beyond what he would have asked for. He said, you know what? I'm going to take care of your enemies. I'm going to give you riches. The world will be your oyster. You open it, there's a pearl. Right? One moment. Right? If you follow my law. But guess what? When Solomon ended up sinning, when he sinned, and I'm going to give you this example right here. Let's get it real quick. Hadad. First Kings 11 and 14. But when Solomon sinned, right, the Most High did this. Let's go to 1 Kings 11 and 14.
1 Kings 11, verse 14. And the Lord
Solomon ended up doing what? That's right. Intermarrying with witches. And began to build pagan temples, involuntary worshiping of angels. He started building temples of Shemas, temples to Moloch with child sacrifice, which is the origin, the secret religion, societies and Freemasonry came from what happened in Solomon's fall. Okay, the same worships that happened, that Solomon created through his fall became Freemasonry. Became Freemasonry. So that would be the construct that would keep our people, what? Mentally controlled under a Babylonian construct. So because Solomon sinned against the Most High, read it again.
And the Lord stirred up an adversary unto Solomon.
Yes.
Hadad the Edomite. He was of the king's seed in Edom.
He was the king's seed of what?
In Edom.
In Edom. See, a lot of y'all didn't know that, folks. That what Solomon created would become, through his sin, will become the religion that would keep our people controlled. Y'all didn't know that. Oh, yeah. I got old encyclopedias. Okay. And this is why one of the secrets of Freemasonry, when they will ask, who is Hiram Abiff? Who is Hiram Abiff? And most people are like, who's Hiram Abiff? I don't see, but under the secret codes that they deal with, under Hiram Abiff, he was the one that Solomon had the power over and did what? All the wood and all the other stuff that came in to build the temple. Hiram Abiff was responsible for all the building of that temple. The temple that one day the Edomites would control and that Christ would split in two upon his death, where the Edomites would control the temple that Solomon relinquished to them, believe it or not, through his sin. So the secret would allow the Edomites to not have their separate temples, but to have control through Solomon's temple. See? If they control the temple as the people, the Jews, they control the earth. See? So that's right. It was through Solomon's sin that the enemy began to take preeminence, and the pagans would have the power to operate on a grand scale with the secret knowledge of Solomon. And that wisdom was supposed to be what? You should have benefited our people. The wisdom that the Most High gave Solomon, this is why he put in the scriptures, Solomon, you must continue in the ways of your fathers with this knowledge. You must continue in the ways of your fathers. When he started doing what? Dealing with these women, because Satan sent in the women, and the women began to turn his heart so that wisdom now could be utilized as a way of destroying us instead of helping God's people. Witches, warlocks, astrologers, pagans will now be able to operate freely one day in cities all over the world to control Solomon's people, the people who are entrusted under the king. Listen to me clearly. But then the Most High would send a king that would take away the sins of Solomon to bring us under a righteous construct. This is the knowledge the world powers have been trying to suppress for years. That there's a battle between kings. Edom took over as king over the temple. And they are at variance with who? Our king, Christ. That's the battle. So now we understand that paganism, the fallen angels, all of that falls under Esau's construct. This is how he controls the earth. Paganism isn't going anywhere. how do we navigate within it? Wisdom. That's how. Elder Lawyer, let's get Proverbs.
Yes, sir.
The first chapter. Let's read it. 4 and 1.
Yes, sir. Proverbs 4, chapter 4, verse 1. Hear ye, children, the instruction of a father, and attend to no understanding.
Don't worry about it. In the academy, you'll see what I'm talking about with the books. All right. But this is a precept breakdown. Okay. I'm going to show you the books that they know. Secret books that they have hid. Christ's ministry would be converting those into the true righteous brotherhood, which is Christ's work for the kingdom. And there will be a separate brotherhood of sorcerers. Okay, one moment.
When I started dealing with ritually abused individuals, then we dealt with military.
There will be a separate brotherhood, controlled through sorcerers, where they would initiate people.
When we began to deal with them, I dealt with someone.
And it will be what?
For quite a while.
The wisdom of this world against the heavenly wisdom that was bestowed upon the disciples. Now, the only way they can get many people under their construct to continue what? Progress in the power of this world was to set up holidays. And with these holidays, it would be incentivized to make sure that people would serve these gods involuntarily. And by doing so, you would stay under, that's right, the craft of Satan. Not Santa, Satan. So a lot of our people don't understand that the holy days come with what? A level of submission to a God. And we were tricked in Christianity to believe that God was Christ. That God is the God of the heavens. When really it's Satan just using our energy in those days to control us, to build their construct, their Masonic construct. So our people don't know any better. They were deceived. And it's like, because we can't take it out on the people who's controlling behind the scenes, we're taking it out on the people, making them feel less than. Are you celebrating that? How you wicked, you evil. That's evil, that's wicked. Nah, we have to use Christ to pull them from up under that. They have to be able to see better in order to convert themselves. Mm-hmm. See? Solomon understood that this is a special people. Like, we're not going to convert them or convert the world into truth while offending them and making them feel dumb or stupid or less than.
Yeah, you damn waste of space, all right? Because a damn gook, see, a gook ruling over you niggas, that should anger you, man.
Not my law.
And attend.
And you make sure, right? So it's going to take wisdom. Listen. Make sure when you get an opportunity, you write this wisdom down that we're about to bring, but throughout all of our interactions, even with pagans. Right? Proverbs 1, let's start.
Proverbs 4, verse 1. Hear ye, children, the instruction of a father, and attend to no understanding.
And attend to no understanding, read.
For I give you good doctrine, forsake ye not my law.
Hold up. I give you what?
For I give you good doctrine.
For I give you good doctrine. Read.
Forsake ye not my law.
Forsake ye not my law. So what is the only good doctrine according to the Bible? The laws contained in it. That's the doctrine. So if anyone teach you the law was done away with, they are against the doctrine of Christ. That's the doctrine of the Nicolaitans that Christ hates, who Christ hates. When it says that Christ is the end of the law for those who believe, it wasn't talking about the laws given to Moses. The end of the law was what? the sacrifice. Christ's death was what? It was pertaining to a capital law in the Old Testament, which means if you do something unto death, you were to be executed. That's the law that was done away with in Christ. An innocent man died so that we would have grace and an opportunity to repent for what our forefathers died for in the Old Testament. If you committed fornication, if you sinned against God's law, if you committed adultery, if you was caught working on the Sabbath, those were punitive capital punishments. So Christ is the end of that law for those who believe. So that even though we were in sin and did all those things, because an innocent man died for us, we've been given grace to repent and change our ways to follow the true doctrine, which is the law. So when it says Christ is the end of the law for those who believe, well, at the end, he was crucified, capital punishment. That's the law in the Old Testament for those who break certain laws. He's the end of that law. Capital punishment, death, sacrifice, to give our people an opportunity to repent. Christians are wrong when they teach that the end of the law is to not follow the law in the Old Testament anymore. And Christ did away with that. That's satanic. So when it says he's the end of the law for those who believe, it's speaking of the capital punishment, folks. Okay, let's go.
Verse 2, for I give you good doctrine, forsake me also and said unto me, let thine heart retain my words, keep my commandments and live.
Keep my commandments and live. The wages for sin is death. So Christians aren't being told this. See, they're not being told this. They're being told because Christ came, they can break the law. Well, let me pray over some unclean food the Bible said don't touch. They don't know any better because their pastors taught them this. See? And we're blaming them as if they're the ones who went to theologian school. Right? We can't blame these people. We have to say, well, no, let me give you understanding concerning that law. No. Christ don't excuse what? Purposeful, intentional sin. That's what grace covers. What? Unintentional sin. That's what grace covers. You're doing things you don't know is against the law. The cross covers that. Or the crucifix covers that. His death covers that. Okay? He's the end of the law for those who believe. You're not going to be killed for that. See? You're not going to be judged for that. Okay? Come on.
Verse 5, get wisdom, get understanding.
That's the point. Get wisdom and get understanding. We're getting a lot of knowledge in a short amount of time right now. Like the Most High have opened up the heavens, opened up the gates and just flooded the earth with truth for those who want it, who would like to receive it. But he says, get wisdom, but get what, elder?
Get understanding.
But get understanding. See, the understanding is on how to operate with the wisdom. Being an Israelite living in a pagan world. Like, I'm not going to go out on the street and berate another people.
You're gonna get put to death. That's right. She's gonna get took. She's gonna be a concubine. Yeah. She's gonna like it. She's gonna like it. Hey, you gonna get your daughter. Hey, yeah. You gonna get your daughter, man. Your daughter's gonna be taken. And she with it. We're seeing shit like this. Yeah, it's faggots, man. Momos. Get your woman in order. Yeah. You or her. Yep. All right, you're supposed to be a man. Do y'all believe in the Bible?
Everything going on armbands, you name it. And I'm bringing it forth, but it was always what?
My last name is Solomon.
Teaching strategically
I was born Richmond.
with the hope of converting.
Synagogues in the suburbs.
With the hopes of converting. Considering that person, like understanding that guess what? Before I was an Israelite, I was the guy on the other side sitting there with a suit, a short little haircut, high top fade, looking in the audience as a pagan. Okay? So when I taught, listen, and I'm not ashamed of it. And this is what happens to Israelites. We forgot from whence we were converted. We forget the point. We forget who we were before the truth came. And I'm like, yo, if someone would have cursed me out and someone would have berated me, I wouldn't have, nah. I would not have operated like that. Now, some people can take that. Some people can take the berating and take all that, but no. Some people are willing to just let things fly over them just to get what they want, but that takes a certain level of knowledge and wisdom and experience to hear what someone is saying, even if they're hurting you, to get the information that benefits you. So I always thought as a teacher, I have to teach as if a person never knew anything at all. Okay? I have to teach as if it's the first time they're hearing this, and that if I say the wrong things, we may lose a soul. I have to teach like that every time I teach. Okay? Read.
Get wisdom.
Get wisdom.
Get understanding.
Get understanding.
Forget it not.
And what?
Forget it not.
Forget not the wisdom and doctrine of this book. This is how Israelites must think. This is how they must operate. Read.
Neither decline from the words of my mouth.
Neither decline from the words of my mouth. The Bible is the mouth of God. Read.
Forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee.
It's speaking of wisdom. Forsake her not, and she will preserve you. Read.
Love her, and she shall keep thee.
Love the Holy Spirit, and she shall keep thee. But keep in mind, the Holy Spirit cannot abide in a temple that's subjected to sin. See? So the Proverbs were the wisdoms or the teachings of Solomon and those who are of high understanding. This is what the Most High gave Solomon after that answer. Wisdom. And how to keep wisdom in our interactions with others. Because why? The majority of Solomon's interactions and transactions in the earth before his old age, and I like to keep emphasizing that because Solomon wasn't a wicked man. Okay? But the majority of his interactions were amongst pagans. Right? Y'all didn't know that. Yeah. Queen of Sheba. Do the research on Queen of Sheba. He was interacting amongst pagans. But the pagans were worshiping many gods, including acknowledging the unknown God, the God of the Hebrews. See? Straight out. So he interacted with pagans, but weren't influenced by them. Because the whole earth outside of Israelites are pagans. They're Gentiles. Gentiles, pagans, heathens, it's all synonymous. See? Read.
Verse 7. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding.
And with all thy getting, get understanding. So he interacted with the pagans, but we were not to follow or be influenced by that, knowing that one day the Most High was going to tear them all down. Anyone who continue in that service to these other gods would eventually be judged. Would eventually be judged at the very end. There will be a judgment for operating in the spirit of paganism. See? So we interacted with him. And guess what? Throughout the times, when you look in the Bible, a lot of people, Gentiles, converted and were amongst the Hebrews. They renounced their paganism, even in old time. And the strangers of the Gentiles who renounced their paganism began to serve the Israelite God. That's right. You can read that all throughout the Old Testament. You can read that. Where the Gentiles had a choice back then to say, you know what? I'd rather be with them and go straight to the top instead of dealing with this God, this goddess, this goddess, this God. Now, I'd rather deal with their God, the true God. See? Finish reading.
Verse 8. Exalt her, and she shall promote thee. She shall bring to thee honor when thou doest embrace her.
Come on.
She shall give to thine head an ornament of grace, a crown of glory, and she shall deliver to thee. Hear, O my son, and receive my sayings, and the years of my life, or thy life, shall be many. I have taught thee in the way of wisdom, I have led thee in right paths. When thou goest, thy steps shall not be straitened, and when thou runnest, thou shalt not stumble.
All right, finish reading.
Verse 12 or verse 13. Take fast hold of instruction, let her not go. Keep her, for she is thy life.
Speaking of the Holy Spirit, read.
Enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. Avoid it, pass not by it, turn away from it, and pass away.
Come on.
For they sleep not except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall.
So you got people out there who operate to cause mischief. See? They'll have the wisdom, but without the knowledge and understanding on how to wield it. And they'll go out just to cause chaos, just to cause dissension. See? Read.
17. For they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence.
Come on.
But the path of the just is as the shining light.
And they did what? Read that, because here's a telltale sign on those who are not operating in the spirit and wisdom of the Most High. Read.
For they eat the bread of wickedness.
They eat the bread of wickedness.
And drink the wine of violence.
And drink the wine of violence. At the end of the day, they're causing confusion, hurting people to a degree where a fight can break out. Looking to what? Agitate to the degree of violence. That's not one who's walking in the wisdom of the Almighty. Okay? That's one that's not walking in the wisdom of the Almighty. Read on.
Verse 18. But the path of the just is as a shining light that shineth more and more unto the perfect day.
Come on.
The way of the wicked is as darkness. They know not at what they stumble.
They know not at what they stumble. These are people who aren't discerning, who aren't walking with the wisdom of the Almighty in their interactions. Okay, read.
Verse 20, my son, attend to my words, incline thine ear unto my sayings.
Incline your ear to my sayings. Wisdom. Read.
Let them not depart from thine eyes, keep them in the midst of thy heart.
Come on.
For they are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh. Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Put away from thee a froward mouth.
Put away from thee a froward mouth.
And
a mouth. Let me get that. Let me get that real quick. Let me get that froward. Let me get that in the Hebrew. It says, put away from thee. Now, if you're walking with the wisdom of the Almighty and interacting in a pagan world and other people, it says, put away from thee a froward mouth. Froward, right? Perversity. Froward comes from the word perverse. A perverse mouth. A nasty mouth. Someone who don't know how to interact intellectually, diplomatically, respectfully. So I'm saying that because when we are amongst pagans and other people, here is how they're actually, believe it or not, through our interaction is how they're deciding on whether or not to deal with what we're dealing with. Okay? It's our interactions with them that will determine whether or not this is the belief they should follow above theirs. Right? You got all this knowledge and understanding, and someone asks you a question, you can go to any verse out the Bible. You know the Bible like the back of your hand, and they listening to you, and when they hear you, you got a perverse mouth. So to them, it's confusing. How can you have all this knowledge and precepts on how to break down what they are doing is wrong and not operate in the spirit of Christ when it comes to interacting with people? See? A froward mouth. Someone with a perverse mouth, not understanding what you're saying, is totally wrecking a person. That's perverse.
Only these bitches can keep doing this shit every year. That's all they
See?
about, man.
So I think some people believe that if they know precepts and can break down the Bible and know that they're Israelites, I think some people believe that they're in the truth just because they know they're Israelites.
Every last one of you so-called white people are the devil, man. Be afraid. That's right. He shall thunder. Who shall not be afraid?
Solomon knew he was an Israelite. And eventually, with all the wisdom, he fell. He fell. That's right. And I can go all throughout the Old Testament to show you men who were Israelites, women who were Israelites. So I'm going to contrast this by showing you how the disciples dealt with pagans today. How they were able to convert those who were under pagan beliefs today. Verse, Elder Lawyer.
Verse number 24. Put away from thee a forward mouth.
A forward mouth, a perverse mouth.
And perverse lips put far from thee.
And perverse lips put far from thee. Right? Watch how we interact, what we say. Read.
Let thine eyes look right on, and let thine eyelids look straight before thee.
Let your eyelids look straight before thee. Read.
Ponder the path of thy feet, and let all thy ways be established.
Let all your ways be established towards that singular what? Focus. The kingdom. Read.
Turn not to the right hand, nor to the left.
Come on.
Remove thy foot from evil.
Remove thy foot from evil. Read. Now, let's get Ecclesiastes 7 and 12. Here's some good stuff now. We're going to start with wisdom. Then I'm going to give you some examples of how pagans had to operate when we were in position, so that you'll understand the flip side. Okay? It was one time a person couldn't exercise astrology outright. witchcraft outright. And I'm going to tell you this, and they'll tell you this also. Well, there is a good craft and a bad craft, as long as you don't use it for bad things. And what they're saying is, well, listen, I only use it for fortune.
Veronica sacrificed herself for Balthazar.
It's still under an angel.
Into her own body.
It's still involuntary worshiping of angels. So they don't deny that they're witches and warlocks and sorcerers. What they'll tell you is, I only use the light side of the force. See? I only use the light side. I don't use the dark side, but the dark side exists. See? And because of this, the Most High made it clear they are not to deal with familiar spirits. They are not to deal with astrology. Now, why aren't we to deal with astrology? I'm going to tell you why, brothers and sisters. We are not to deal with astrology because why? There's certain natures of people that comes through gates where they'll have a certain demeanor based on what gate they came through, which the Gentiles turned into the zodiac, where there'll be certain behaviors based on the time of year you came into the earth. Well, people aren't supposed to know about that. You're supposed to interact with the person naturally to get to know them and not realize what their archetype or what their behaviors are, because that can be used as a point of manipulation through psychology. Psychology is witchcraft. Psychology is witchcraft. Again. Okay? Now, you can know something about a person and have what? Their best interest at heart, and you can figure out who they are and what they are about to actually do what? To help them. I only use the good part of it because I know your nature. So based on someone being a Libra or being a Scorpio, I know what they like. So this is the things I'll do based on the knowledge I've learned about them without interacting with them. That's a craft.
I have been seeing spirits since I was a little girl, and I always knew things when I was a child, and I've developed it to a place where I can help others with it, and I've dedicated my life to it.
With it at all.
Back to where you...
That's a craft. It's used for manipulation. And we weren't supposed to deal with it at all. You were supposed to deal with the person, and your interactions you would try to figure out a person, which is part of the love you would have for them. See? And they took that all away, where now, no soon as you meet a person, what's your sign? And then when they go away, they'll look it up. What do love and romance and all this, and sign what this person like and all that. And now you can manipulate, not getting to naturally know a person before witchcraft came into play. It's a craft. Witchcraft, sorcery, all of that is for manipulation, to get our way. To get our way doing what? Figuring out a person without actually having to figure them out. Interacting with them. It's evil. But now we can practice that. To us now, we've been so desensitized. Astrology is just a natural thing to get a newspaper, get online, and look at what the stars have for your sign today. And if we were found doing this in the Old Testament, guess what? You were found reading horoscopes, put to death. You were found sitting amongst someone and they're reading your palms and all that. That person was put to death and you were put to death. See? Finish reading. Yeah, read Ecclesiastes, Elder Lawyer, 7 and 12.
Ecclesiastes 7 verse 12.
Wisdom, come on.
For wisdom is a defense, and money...
Wisdom is a what?
Wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense.
Wisdom is a defense, and also money is a defense. See? So money was supposed to be what? Utilized as a tool to gain wealth, to protect your home. It's a defense. Read.
For wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense.
And money is a defense.
But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it.
And that's the excellency of knowledge. Is that what?
That wisdom giveth life to them that have it.
Wisdom giveth life to those who have it. With the wisdom of the Almighty, you'll know how to deal with the knowledge. And if the Most High give you money, you'll know how to use it as a defense. A fool and his money will soon depart. See? So money is an evil in of itself. Unless you're coveting. Unless you're breaking the laws. See? When you're doing something against the law, then the money is being used to do what? To perpetuate the behavior. So we look at money, oh, money's bad. No, the love of money is the root of all evil. See? And you would have to know the wisdom to how to deal with it. I just wanted to throw that wisdom scripture out there with you because some people think that if people get money or a person get money, that's wicked or evil. Nah, that's a thwarted mentality to look at it that way. You have to look at whether or not someone strived lawfully. It's nothing for the Most High to make a rich man poor overnight or a poor man rich overnight. You have to look at how he got the money, whether or not that person strived lawfully. Okay? Because one thing about us, we're quick to judge if someone has something. We're predisposed to believing that the only people that can get something without it being examined are our oppressors. But more on wisdom. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 9. Ecclesiastes, Elder Lawyer, 9 and 16, because this is what I want to get to, especially with these holidays coming. Read.
Sir. 9 and 16, I'll take it down to 18.
Ecclesiastes in the Bible, 9, 16 through 18.
Then said I, wisdom is better than strength.
Wisdom is better than strength. Read.
Nevertheless, the poor man's wisdom is despised, and his words are not heard.
Read that again.
Then said I, wisdom is better than strength.
Come on.
Nevertheless,
the
poor man's wisdom is despised.
The poor man wisdom is despised. Read.
And his words are not heard.
And his words are not heard. Now, why does it say the poor man's wisdom is despised? Don't forget, I said that things were turned upside down. And even back then, when we were in power, the aged understood, the wise understood that a poor man's words are despised. So understand we're living in a pagan world who judge people based off of how they've benefited or whether or not they've been blessed through the wisdom that they claim to obtain, that they claim to hold. Now, let's translate that to what's going on in the world today, right? Someone invites you to a party or some place where something pagan is going on, or you're living in a house, under your mother's house or your father's house, with all the wisdom you learned online, YouTube, you're there every Wednesday, you're there, and you're in someone else's house where they strive lawfully.
In secret, when people aren't looking,